Okay, so for the hardware section, you'll notice that we have a big bundle of mess, but it all just serves around one purpose of gathering information and sending it to the Firebase. After that, it's pretty standard. So what I did was I had to create a custom pathway for the ESP8266. Now this is because the pin layout is very awkward for most custom PCB boards or any breadboard. So you can't just put it on because then the pins they kind of mess with each other. So I had to go and solder individual pins that are linked to separate areas. So you can see that this pin right here, which would be the ground, is soldered up to the pin over here, and that pin will be fed to another area on the board where it has ground. I also had to solder in separate sections for just extra pins over here, which you can tell by they'll be over here, and that's where I have the DHT11 hooked up to with the one data pin, the voltage, and the ground. And then just other pins that are connected to the 8266. You have the ground, you have the TX and the RX, as well as your voltage in. And this is the other issue that I was saying earlier in the presentation, is that the 8266 only comes equipped with two pins. So that's the IO pin 0 and IO pin 1. And the reason why this is an issue is because my real-time clock, or the real-time clock module, requires 4 pins to be connected: the ground, the VCC, the SDA, and the SLC. And this is just for transmitting data. Now, I would be able to do it if I did not have the DHT11, because the DHT11 takes up 1 pin, but because of that I was not able to utilize this, and therefore we had to push the code through the software section. It is worth noting that there are a few other connections, such as this LED into a resistor that's connected from one of the IO pins, but that is not crucial to the project. That is just something that I set up there to give myself notification that the device is receiving power. Okay, so for the Arduino code, it's important that we imported the specific libraries necessary for the connection of the ESP8266, as well as the DHT11. And as you can tell, we have to define both the host and the authentication, which we can get from the Firebase. You want to make sure that this is hidden at all times because you don't want people to connect. The second thing is you want to set up a Wi-Fi password as well as the SSID for the logging in. This is important because the ESP8266 needs to be able to get that information in order to access your Firebase. The third thing is the actual DHT11 itself, for recording the temperature. Now, when it comes to the setup, it's just very standard. Just set it up with a nice little serial begin for the Arduino, as well as you want to begin your Wi-Fi. The next thing is you want to connect to your Firebase. This is standard for anybody that wants to use Arduino. And then in the void loop, this is where you're going to be getting your data from the DHT11. You just want to initialize 2 variables and set those variables to the DHT's both humidity and temperature. And you just want to give it a quick if just to check to see if it's failing. If it's failing, it will tell you on the serial that it's happened. If that doesn't go through, then you proceed to the next point where we just set up a few strings to hold the variables that we need additionally to the DHT11. Now, the last step is to push the code or set the string in our Arduino, the Firebase database. And yeah, we just delay it for about 60,000 milliseconds, or I believe microseconds, and yeah, it just resets over and over again every minute.
Okay, so this is our Firebase database. As you can see here, we have 5 different databases. Each database does something different in the app. So first, I'm going to go with the show you the weather. This is the hardware side. This is where we connect our data and information so we can send it over to the app. As you can see here, there's different machines. These are the machines set up. So we have 4 currently running. And this is the one getting information from the database. So as you can see, it brings out information like date, latitude, longitude, so we can set the position, humidity, temperature, etc., etc. Okay, so we'll just wait here for a little bit to see. Oh, look, it updated. So it is updating in real time. So the next part is the users. This is where the personal information is stored, like name, password, email. So I will not be showing this, but this is where it is in the database. We have friends. As you can see here, show who's friends with who and what time was it accepted at. So I made a friend recently, or yep. The next part is the friend request. So in this database, it will show sent and receive friend requests. So it will allow us to make friends and change the database up, change the code up in the phone, based on the sent and the received friend requests. And the next is event details. This is where the events are stored in the database, and it will show you the casual level host ID of the event, and then afterwards where it is and what time. Yeah, that's the database.
This is our Squadz application. When opening up the app for the first time, this will appear. In this screen, we have a Get Started button and an Already Have an Account button. When clicking on the Already Have an Account button, we are directed to a login page or a sign up page. But when you click Get Started instead, it will briefly introduce you to our app of what it's about. After all those introductory slides, we can either sign up or log in, but I will demonstrate the sign up page. Here we have to enter our first name, last name, email, password, and date of birth. But for demonstration's sake, I will be using, a fake email and everything. Once you're done filling out the information, you can click sign up. This is our home page, and I will show you the profile page. This is the profile page, and we can write a status. You can write a status by clicking the update profile button. And here we can write anything we want. So I will write once we're done, we can just click done. And there we have status. In the profile page, we can also change our profile picture and background picture. We can do this by clicking the edit button and selecting one of these options here. I will first start with the profile picture. Here we can select the photo and we can crop it to whatever we want. We can move it around and get the perfect picture. Next, I will change the background. Next, I will show you the logout button. Now I will write in my email and password. As you can see in the top right, the profile picture has changed and that I am on the account again. When clicking on the profile picture, you can still see that I have my own customizations.
Okay, apologize for the quick transition. This is my profile. I'll be discussing the rest of the app's functionality. As you can see here, I'm going to go back to the home screen and I'm going to show the video in its entirety. So once we go back to the home screen here, you'll see.
Squadz, are you in? Are you not?
Okay, so that's our video. It's just showing us an introduction to show what Squadz is about. So the rest of the app, we have 3 different tabs one can browse upon. You have your friends, you have your notifications, and you have your events. First, you have your notifications, and I will search this up. This is where the hardware information is going to be stored. You can see here, you click weather, and it will show us all of the hardware devices that are connected into from the app, and it's stored in a recycler view. So we have different locations here of different courts. For example, Humber. This is the hardware device at Humber College. It would give us the time that the data was stored at. It would give us the location, the temperature, and humidity, as well as a image of this court. So as mentioned before, the temperature and humidity is at 1 minute intervals. So as you can see right now, the humidity just changed from 22% to 20% humidity. So this is of real time, and it will change whenever the database receives a change from the hardware. And these are just the other courts, and yeah. So that's our notifications. This will notify the user about the courts itself. Next, we're going to go on to the friends. So in Squadz, you have a friends list and you can add friends. To add friends, you click this button and this will show you all the users in the app. So there I am, and after we have other users. Since we created this app, Michael will, so as you can see here, this is the newly created account. All this, so we want to add him as a friend. So we click add, and this will send to the database, the friend request database, certain signals for the other user to know whether or not he's getting a signal or not. So it would be like, hey, send request. It will send it to Michael Pham, and as you can see now, it will show on Michael Pham's screen a request coming from my profile page.
When clicking on Justin's profile, I can see that I got a friend request and that I can accept it.
Okay, so Michael just added my friend, accepted my friend request. So now what happens is that I can go to my friends list, and as you can see, I have 2 friends. I have Ravur as a friend and Michael as a friend. What happens here is that once the friend request accepts, it will store my new friend in my friends list, and it will also store me in Michael's friends list. So Michael could also see me as his friend on his friends list. So that's friends. Okay, so we added a friend from a friend's users. So let's create an event since we're about playing basketball here. So we have 2 options in events: create an event or locate event. So let's create an event. And as you can see here, it opens up Google Maps and you see these waypoints. What these waypoints are is it's the hardware devices that that we installed in the courts, on the courts. So if you click them, as you can see, it'll give you the location of the court and the temperature and humidity at each court. And this one is the one that we connected to a real-time database that gives us the on time. As you can see, it's changing. Before it was 25, 20 degrees humidity, now it's 26. So every minute, it'll give you a real-time update as well. So we want to play a Humber. So let's go to the search bar and let's just type in 205 Humber College Boulevard. Down, press details. And now as you can see there, that's the location of the event. So let's click a competitive or casual. We'll play casual now. And we click the party size. So let's have a full 10 game. And then afterwards here, it shows us the time we want to play at. Let's do 8:30 p.m. and press done. And now we can press create. So now it's been saved. We can go to locate event. These are all the previous events created. And I can go here, click details, and then after it will show 205 Humber, Justin, time 8:30, 10 party size 10, and we can join it. And yes, we joined the game. So this is our app, and that concludes our presentation.